I'm going to go on to the public land survey. So this method of using township and range was actually started in 1785. It became important to actually designate ways of measuring where locations were in the U.S. Following the 13 colonies. Kind of makes sense if you want to like build something, build a town. You better know where it is relative to boundaries of everything. So they had to come up with a way. And the best way that they found was something very similar to how we have latitude and longitude. And it's known as the baselines and the meridian lines. So the way that this works is there are townships and ranges that designate north, south versus east and west. Within given kind of states, there's generally these meridian lines which restart the counting to be able to get at what location it is and where you're basing everything on. Where are you basing north from? Where are you basing south from? So some of the words that you would see, there's township, there's range lines, township lines, and I'll explain each of these. Here's a map of the US. So as you can see from this, the way that the public land surveys work is given states or groups of states have principal meridians and baselines. So for example, you'll see up in the Pacific Northwest, we have a baseline and a single principal line, principal meridian. Its merge is somewhere close to Portland area. But basically the way that this works is along this baseline, that's the designation for where north starts or south starts. So anything above this baseline is north, anything below that baseline is south. Along that same line, there's the Willamette meridian, principal meridian. So what this does is it designates anything west of that is west, anything east of that is east. So if you were to look at a given set of lines and the way that they merge, so imagine how this is merging somewhere close to Hood River or whatever, Portland, you would see that anything north of that line merge would be the set of norths versus south of that line, you'd see the S. East, you would see east in the range. West, you would see west in the range. So townships are norths or souths, ranges are east or west. Along the same lines that we have latitude and longitude for stuff. Okay, so what this is ending up doing is you're getting groups of squares for the designation of a location. So for example, in this, let's say I had township 1 north and range 1 east, okay? In this, you'll see there's a bunch of little other squares. These are all section numbers. And this works because each of the township 1 norths, range 1 east, are a 6 mile by 6 mile square. What that means is you have 6 squares in each direction, or 36 square miles. If I looked at this image, you would see that this is township 1 north, range 1 east. If I went one more up from it, my township went up by 1, but my range didn't change. Whereas if I went left of it, I would see my range had changed, but my township did not. Okay. Again, that's the way that these work. So let's say that you had a well somewhere on this map and you went and said, okay, what is its location? Well, if it was in this square, and that's kind of the square I'll use for other things coming up, I would see that it would say township 1 north, range 1 east, section, and we would see these section numbers and it would be section 11. Again, these are 6 mile by 6 mile, and they count in this way: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and they go back and forth all the way down until you get to the 36. Okay, so this is all great. it has a way of actually designating things, but sometimes you have latitude and longitudes, and it would be nice to just have the given township and range. There is actual ways to do this. You can look up on Google that it will tell you, but there are different softwares on Google that use Google Earth to do this. One of them is called EarthPoint. It's just one I pulled up to show as an example. So for example, in this, let's say I was looking at the North Central office in Pendleton. So I pegged that office location. I used Google Earth in this instance, and I have a latitude and longitude. Okay, I can take that location, type it into EarthPoint or some other software. Usually you can do this actually on Google too. Type it in, and it will give you a township and range. It gives two systems for showing it. It's just, this is the one that overall shows which section it's in. And so you can see it counts as township north 2, range 32 east, and section 11. So let's check and see if that kind of is what it would be. So if I was looking at, I thought I had another map, my bad. The way it was looking is it would have gone some set of townships up, some ranges, and down to section 11. All right. So that works to get the section number. But again, the way that townships and ranges were specified is by a 6 mile by 6 mile, which means each section is 1 mile by 1 mile. That's a big area. And you could have lots of wells or lots of different designations for land within that location, tax lots, lots of different things. So there has to be a way to break this down even further. One of those ways is with section divisions. So there's a quarter division, or there's the ABCD method. The way that the quarter works is each section, so for example, this like section 14, can be broken into quarters or halves. If I wanted to find a location in a given quarter, I would pick which part of it I would want. So if I wanted like this northwest quarter of it, so in the section 14, I would say this quarter, and then which quarter of that. The ABCD method works a little bit differently. It designates an A quarter of it, a B quarter of it, a C quarter of it, and a D quarter of it, and then breaks each of those quarters down into another quarter. And you could follow this over and over and over again, and you just end up with an A, B, C, D, so forth. So for example, if I wanted something in this location, I would say it's in section 15, it's in quarter C, and it's in quarter A of quarter C. So it would be section 15 CA. These all link together. So if I was talking about, like I just said, the section C, that's the southwest quarter. And that section A of that is the northeast corner of the southwest. All right, just going to take a moment. I know that was a lot. Here you have a real example. You have this location, this square. It has a township of 27 south, a range of 11 west, a section number 34. Now, if you had in that square a location, you would have to go and say what it is. Well, the way to do it would be its designation off of the quarters. So this is the northeast quarter, the northwest quarter, the southwest quarter, and the southeast quarter. You see that designation is the second term. And then you look at the first term of it. This is the northwest corner of the southeast corner. The way that the quarter method works is kind of backwards. Compare that to the lettering A, B, C, D, and then in this A, B, C, D, this would be D, B. The ABCD method works not backwards, but in the forward position. Oftentimes, a quarter is what's used.